we help teams to see and build the future from idea to reality. We help builders, those who are building new products, new businesses, new applications, to clearly understand the complexity in their business, the changes they need to make, and how to make it happen.
The majority of successful business applications developed on Quickbase are built by people who understand their process, are motivated to improve that process. These people that can not only explain what their process is, but can visualize it and diagram it out and propose ways that it could be improved. I mean, when we get someone who's talking in that type of language, and just watch out.
I'm Nick LaFleur, and you're listening to Age of Agility, the podcast where industry and business leaders share how they're building transparency and flexibility into their daily work. This week, like many others, we're talking about people building new processes and applications and the technology that helps along the way. However, unlike our other episodes, we're learning more about a new partnership between our company, Quickbase, and Lucidchart. Shannon is joined by two guests this week: Brint Markle, a business development leader at Lucid, and Chris Hutchens, Senior Manager of Tech Alliances at Quickbase. The gang talks about how this partnership came to be, the overlap between Lucid and Quickbase builders, and how folks can take advantage of this collaboration to go from a diagram to a business application faster than ever before. Take a listen and enjoy our conversation with Brint Markle and Chris Hutchens.
Welcome to the Age of Agility. This is a show where we talk to people who are facing unique challenges with an agility mindset. We'll learn from industry leaders, business and IT professionals, and even check in on our colleagues from time to time. Stay tuned as we explore the age of agility. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Age of Agility podcast. My name is Shannon Curran, and I am still your host. We are very excited. I know I say this every time, but I'm always actually excited. Very excited today for our guests. We actually have two guests today on the podcast. So I would like to introduce you to Brint Markle, who is the Director of Business Development and Strategic Partnerships at Lucid, and Chris Hutchens, who is the Senior Manager of Tech Alliances at Quickbase. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you, Shannon. This is awesome.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We're excited to be here.
So, Brint, why don't we start with you? So can you tell our audience a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. Well, I'll start just on the personal side. It's been a really fun and adventurous journey. I'm a husband, proud dog dad to a 3-year-old border collie, outdoor enthusiast. I live in Park City, Utah. From a career perspective, and kind of just that arc, I grew up in Philadelphia, studied economics and public policy in school, went into management consulting kind of as the financial crisis was kicking off. So exciting times. But really, I didn't quite know what I want to do with my career yet. But great place to just dig my teeth into growth strategy, private equity, M&A, things like that. And then thereafter, went back to business school and spent the next 7 years building a couple technology businesses, one in the avalanche industry, and then one in the broader outdoor sports industry, which we sold to Mammut in 2018. So I joined Lucid 2 years ago, lead BD and strategic partnerships, and it's been an awesome journey. So excited to share more in a bit.
Awesome. Yeah, so Brint alluded to, we have some pretty exciting news coming out in this podcast. So you'll hear, after we hear a little bit more about Chris, tell our folks who you are and what you do.
Yeah, Chris Hutchens. I've been with Quickbase for about 3 years. And like Shannon said, I'm a senior manager in the Tech Alliances group. Prior to that, I was actually a product manager at Quickbase for a little over 2 years, worked on a few things. So product itself is kind of near and dear to my heart. Prior to Quickbase, I had a sort of a prior career. I worked for Johnson & Johnson for about 7 years, actually, in various engineering positions, design, in their orthopedic division. So that was a kind of a different life, but a more overlap than I initially expected. On the personal side, I'm also a proud husband. I'm a proud father of a 5-year-old French bulldog, and soon to be a proud father of a little baby girl coming in August. So this is my official announcement to the world, I suppose. So we're really excited about that.
I just have to say, for our loyal listeners, this is the second birth announcement I have found out on the podcast for people I work with. So I need to. This is the second one, but very exciting.
The age of agility, right? With kids.
I know. This is the second one, and this is one of my favorite parts about hosting this show. Is sometimes I have folks on that I currently work with, and lots of new folks, and I get to find out so much about them and their backgrounds that I didn't know. I feel like I have to tell everyone that I'm a proud wife and mother of a dog as well. I don't know if anyone knows that, but it's a very canine heavy group. Great. So we're not here to talk about dogs, which would relate to agility. That's a separate episode. We are here to talk a little bit about and introduce Lucid to our audience. So Brint, could you give us a little bit of an overview of what Lucid is, tell us a little bit about the technology and also about the company, and then we can talk about some exciting partnerships coming forward.
Absolutely. So what is Lucid? So our mission at Lucid is very simple. We help teams to see and build the future from idea to reality. And some of the alignment we'll talk about in a bit. We help builders, just like Quickbase, but those who are building new products, new businesses, new applications, to clearly understand the complexity in their business, the changes they need to make, and how to make it happen. So if you go back a little bit, we used to use physical whiteboards, right? And maybe we're going back to a hybrid work where we'll use them again, or endless PowerPoint presentations. But I think the way we see it is we're building this new category of visual collaboration that's really focused on helping teams to ideate, plan, design, and document whatever it is that they're building. We have a visual collaboration suite. It consists of 3 products. So the first is called Lucid Spark, which is a digital whiteboard to help teams really freeform ideate and plan. Lucidchart is our intelligent diagramming application, and that's to empower teams to really clarify complexity so they can build the future faster. And then we have Lucidchart Cloud Insights, which is a bit more for technical teams to help them automatically visualize and understand their cloud infrastructure. So you kind of weave all of those together, and Lucid products are used in around 180 different countries by 30 million users, 99% of the Fortune 500. And, it still feels like we're a startup and we're just getting started.
Very cool. So we saw a lot of similarities with the users of Quickbase and also the folks that use Lucidchart, right? So I can say that I've built Quickbase applications that have started in Lucidchart. I know I'm certainly not the only one because I'm probably the worst Quickbase builder on this call. But I think there definitely is, we saw a lot of collaboration and connection, right? So can you tell us a little bit about that sort of opportunity that we're seeing here, Chris?
Yeah, and this opportunity, it's funny because it's really not something that was born out of a bunch of internal meetings on who should we partner with next. It was really an idea that kind of unearthed itself in a few ways. We have seen over the 20 plus years that Quickbase has been around, our most successful builders in our ecosystem that are building the most impactful applications. Most of them have started in a diagram of some sort. It used to be on whiteboards, and in tools like Lucidchart, it became more popular and more user-friendly, and of course digital, so that teams can collaborate across geographies, teams, etc. We saw a lot of our customers gravitate toward that. But it's really key when you're starting a business, a Quickbase application, to really understand your process, to understand your data model before you start getting in there. Of course, you could start building and tweaking and modifying and then deleting things and doing that, and that's all well and good, but really solid plans and a vision of what you want your application to do is really critical. So we've seen customers use it immensely. We've actually started to use it internally very heavily as we onboard customers and work with our customers, whether it's onboarding them to Quickbase and understanding how they can most effectively build their first application, or Quickbase veteran companies that want to build a new business critical application and want our assistance in planning that out. Lucidchart's often our go-to tool. So all that being said is, hey, if we're encouraging our customers to diagram their processes and data model before they get started, we're doing this internally. There's got to be something that the two organizations could do together just to work together and support that kind of natural co-occurrence, and that's exactly what we're going to be able to do. So yeah, we've committed to building some product integrations, to start partnering in other kind of non-digital ways as well, to help people really, like Brint was saying, turn their ideas into a real functional application, when it makes sense. So yeah, we're really excited, and it just came about very organically, and I think and that's part of the reason it's been so fun, working on this. So
yeah, it does definitely. As I started to hear more about the announcement, as someone that's used both platforms, obviously a little bit more familiar with one than the other, but it does feel like there is this broader conversation about democratization that is occurring, right? Taking technology and putting it in the hands of more people with diverse backgrounds, with different levels of understanding of technology, of code. And both Lucid and Quickbase are really strong components of that sort of ecosystem of tools that can be used by people that are not professional developers. I'm not saying professional developers can't use both tools. I'm sure they find a lot of value in them. But it definitely feels like there's this broader conversation about just giving more access and providing access to powerful technology to more people. Brint, have you seen that with your user base?
Absolutely. Our founders, Carl and Ben, they started Lucidchart, over 10 years ago now, and their, really powerful part of their idea was helping to democratize diagramming and process thinking, and creating this kind of common, easily accessible visual language that could help us kind of accelerate collaboration and improve communication. So I think it's been really neat to see that vision come to life over the years. Lucidchart is a great place, right, to start to clarify complexity in a visual way and to collaborate with your team. So in many ways, that democratization, it works really well with Quickbase's community of builders, many of whom we understand are business technologists and really savvy from a technical perspective, but doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be have the deepest technical knowledge. So that aligns really well with our community as well.
Chris, you speak really well to this when you're talking about the people that are most successful at building the most powerful applications. They're not necessarily, they're not professional developers necessarily. Some of them definitely are, but I feel like others, like, what are sort of the characteristics of someone that's really awesome at building business applications in a no-code, low-code platform?
That's a great question and a great thing to touch on. I think, like you said, there are people who have the classical training of a software developer that do find a lot of value in Quickbase, and those are often very successful builders. But the majority of successful business applications developed on Quickbase are built by people who understand their process, are motivated to improve that process in an iterative kind of continuous way, and just eager to get going, and kind of self-starters oftentimes. We've found in a lot of our research that these people that can not only explain what their process is, but can visualize it and diagram it out and propose ways that it could be improved. I mean, when we get someone who's talking in that type of language, and you can often see it when these types of people, they've got just fire in their eyes when they talk about how they want to continuously improve what they do in their department or their company or their team, and when they get in front of Quickbase, it's just watch out. And so that's also why as I'm talking, I'm sure that people are putting the dots together that Lucid is a key component of that. Instead of reaching for a whiteboard or a piece of paper or a PowerPoint or something, if they can do that in a way that's smart, intelligent, I think is the word you use, Brent, when you describe what Lucidchart does. It's an intelligent diagramming tool. man, it really gives them a head start. So yeah, that's sort of the persona, if you will, of people that are really successful. And they don't, they might, I like to think of them as engineers at heart. Maybe they don't have an engineering background or a degree, but they're problem solvers. They're creative, and they just want to get stuff done. And that's when it's really exciting to see a tool like Quickbase be so heavily leveraged to allow them to actually do that. Because historically, as I'm sure you've discussed in prior episodes as well, that they don't have those tools to be able to solve those problems themselves, and they have to put a ticket into IT or go hire a developer who might not be familiar with their process. And so it's really nice that we can provide that. I could keep going and going and going.
Yeah,
I get excited, but I'll stop.
No, I'll build on that, Chris. I mean, I think something that really excites us is so many of our mutual customers, like so many of our customers are already using Lucidchart and Quickbase together, right? And they came to us and said, hey, is there a way that we can more seamlessly tie some of these workflows together? And we really have, Lucid on one hand, and purpose-built tools for visualizing really complex systems. And we're kind of throwing a lead pass to Quickbase, right? Quickbase is taking those visual concepts and helping bring them to reality in really powerful applications that folks will use in their businesses every day. So kind of that, I think what we love is just seeing that end-to-end value that we're able to create through this partnership. It's something that we're super excited about.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch and be a part of enabling that.
Yeah, we're almost democratizing the product innovation too. Like the customers defined this, right? Like it was already happening. So it's just to say, like, how can we make this a seamless sort of value add for anybody that wants to improve processes consistently and continuously. I think I was thinking, Chris, too, as you talk about, like, either typically these folks would have to either sit in a queue with IT, or they would sort of have to find other tools or hire someone, or they would make the most complex Excel spreadsheet of all time that would crash. So I think that's another thing we're seeing too, right? It's like one way or the other, right? And I think that we're finding a way to say, these processes, these back office things that we talk a lot about on this show, right, is the logistics, the supply chain, all these things, even within, we run our marketing ops and our content ops on Quickbase, and we've mapped out our process in Lucidchart 2 years ago. So I think there's definitely a need for this across lots of, like, every industry, as well as processes that exist in every business. So yeah, super exciting. All right, I'm going to ask you both the question that I ask everyone on this show. Brent, we'll start with you because you're alphabetically first. So how would you define agility?
I love this question. How would I define agility? So I think for me, and honestly for our product org as well at Lucid, we think about agility as maximizing the speed of learning and applying those learnings quickly. So maximizing the speed of learning is one of our core product principles. And what it comes down to, the kind of the way we think about it, is the faster that we can learn, the faster we get to find this magical intersection of customer and business value, and therefore innovate. And the way in which we think about it is really, it's all about kind of rapid incremental experimentation. So we'll start out with, call it high frequency, low fidelity types of learning and tests. And as we gain confidence, we'll kind of move into more of that lower frequency, higher fidelity testing. So there's a really fun analogy actually that our CTO gave. Like, it was like my first month at Lucid, and so I'll relay it. But basically, he talks about imagine you're on a pirate ship, okay, and you're in the fog of war, so you can't see all the other ships that are out there, and you've only got a set number of cannonballs below deck, and you're not going to just start firing cannonballs, when you can't see what's going on out there. And so instead, you might take a revolver out, right? And you might shoot in a couple different directions until you hear a ping of it hitting another ship. And that might be a signal that would help direct where you might take some of those bigger bets. So anyways, I love pirates, and so I love that analogy. But we think about we think about product development in a very similar way, and we think about candidly business development and strategy in a similar way. So, for us, if businesses really want to build agility within, I think about starting with having that kind of agile, rapid experimentation mindset and flexing some of those muscles around learning and experimentation.
That is our first mention of pirates on the Age of Agility. So I thank
Really?
you, Brint. Yeah.
No way.
You'll have to come back and expand.
That's the entrepreneur coming out in me, because I'm also an EIR at MIT, and we say it's much more fun to be a pirate than join the Navy. So I'm used to pirate analogies, I guess.
I love it. Oh, this is great. Put that on the list for our next episode. Awesome. So, Chris, good. Maybe I should have let you go first on this one. He talked about avalanches and then pirates. So, where are you going to follow up here on your definition of agility?
Oh boy. Well, first, I thought that what Brint said it really resonated with me, and I would say what Quickbase believes in too. I think I would add that agility for me is a big part of it is being open to learning. Not only setting oneself up to learn at a rapid pace and everything Brint said, but oftentimes things are changing so quickly and in major ways sometimes that if you're not it's one thing to be open to learning on paper, but if you're not actively seeking out what is changing, and constantly validating if what your current plan is still applicable, and if you need to make small or even sometimes major changes, then you're missing out. So I think that's a big part of it to me, is being open to receiving the feedback that the world is giving you, without being too heads down, too laser focused on what you've defined, even in recent as like a prior sprint in that language, or a prior decision that was made in a meeting a week ago. So, I think more than at least I can remember in recent history, the world is changing very, very quickly, and in almost every facet of how we operate in the world. So, it's exciting, but also I think inspires me at least, and we've seen it in a lot of our customers too. Actually, a big source of inspiration for me is watching people adapt to that, and watching different people take completely different approaches to being agile. But the thing that I continuously see is the people that are most successful in keeping up with the change are the people that are very actively seeking out and the change, and kind of stepping in front of the truck that is the change, and letting themselves get hit by it and stand up and say, okay, what do I need to learn next time? So I don't know if that analogy that came to me very live. I don't know if that analogy is as good as the pirate, and nor do I condone that activity. But yeah, that's what comes to my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So boats, trucks, avalanches. That is a lot of
violence. A lot of violence.
I know. What is going on in this episode?
Some trucks. People.
I know. All right. So my final question for you two lovely guests is, how are you doing? This is my favorite question of sort of this whole podcast that we do is really understanding the people behind the products and behind the businesses. So either one of you can start. I won't dictate this.
Chris, why don't you go first? I feel like I've gone first too many times.
Yeah, okay, I'll go first. So generally, I'm doing extremely well. As I mentioned before, we're expecting a little baby girl in August, which, that kind of, anytime I'm having a tricky day, and I hope this continues for the rest of my life, I think about that, and that's so super excited about that. I'm also doing pretty well with this whole world that we've been living in for the last, 2 years. I think, with the whole coronavirus thing, I think I'm adapting to that fairly well from a work from home perspective. Feel very, very, very fortunate to be able to work from home. So that's another kind of thing on my gratefulness list. I think that professionally, I'm relatively new to the partnership and alliance world at Quickbase, and we're trying to, continue to build that and make it really strong. And for me, it's a fun new kind of professional challenge. I miss being in product nearly and dearly, mostly because of the people, but we still get to interact, obviously. I'm on the other side now. I get to ask them to do things and listen to more creative ways of saying no, but that's not always the case. But so that's going well, and I'd say I'm doing very well, and a lot of things to be grateful for.
Awesome. All right, Brent, your turn.
All right. Well, I'm excited, Chris, for you. I'll have to take some notes. When you guys do have your baby, we're not quite there yet. Again, just have a baby border collie, but have to learn from your experiences on that one. But so how am I doing? Overall good. I think it's been a crazy year for all of us. There's been highs and lows. On one hand, I think my wife and I feel tremendously fortunate to live in a place like Park City, where we've been able to kind of weather the storm, so to speak, and outdoors, hiking, mountain biking, skiing. It's helped to kind of get our minds off of some of the challenges that we've all been facing. And so we've been extremely lucky in that respect. On the other hand, I think it's been tough. I've got two parents that are in their 70s, and I haven't seen them in a year and a half. I'm going to see them in July. I can't freaking wait. All that said, I think that we're really on the up and up right now. And I have this feeling that we're going to come out of this period, with a deeper sense of who we are and what's important to us. So I feel really good. I feel super fortunate to be at a company like Lucid, and I'm sure similar to Quickbase. Some of the challenges that we've seen in the world have actually probably been tailwinds for our businesses. As people have been trying to adapt to new ways of working and working remote and hybrid, solutions like Lucid and Quickbase have hopefully helped ease some of those really difficult transitions. But overall, good, but ups and downs, is how I would summarize the last year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe just life in general, but yeah,
Shannon,
that too.
Yeah, I think that's probably life. Yep.
Yeah.
And Shannon, I'd like to add one more thing to my answer.
Yeah.
I think that I had two things in my head when I was thinking about all the crazy things in the world, and one's coronavirus, obviously, and then I think the whole set of social movements that have been going on I think it's been a really huge net positive. I mean, there's been a lot of terribleness that's happened, and I think that for me personally, I'm very grateful that I've been able to get exposed to things that I've been previously ignorant about, and so I love learning and growing myself, and I think that I don't know, to all the listeners, I would encourage everyone to be really open. Same with what I was saying with agility. Be open to change. Be open to learning what you didn't know before. And as a white male who's quite privileged in many ways, it's I don't know the right word. Maybe in some ways it's energizing to know that at least I'm trying to improve the way I live and communicate and act every day. And I would encourage everyone to do the same. So it's been a weird ride for that in that respect. So it's been like I said, I think a net positive, but I'd say it's impacted my life a lot more recently than it has in the past. And I'm partially ashamed of that, but partially excited that that's a signal of myself growing and learning and hopefully sharing that learning to others. So I struggle finding the words. It's been weird. It's been odd. It's been self-growth time. It's been emotional. So that's definitely part of how I'm doing as well. So I wanted to share that.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. I think, if this year has taught us anything, it accelerated a lot of things that were sort of unearthed. And I think a lot about like what lessons I've learned over the last year that I want to take into and keep in my life, right? Like you were saying, Brent, like understanding yourself better, and understanding what matters to you, and also not just going right back into sort of business as usual, right? Anyone listening on audio, I just use air quotes. So I think there is still a lot of normalizing of learning. And I love the way that you describe agility, Chris, and Brint, you allude to this too, right? That we are now in this age where we are constantly going to be changing, improving, weathering disruption, understanding that the way that we believe things to be true may not be. And that's why we need sort of, whether it's technology or platforms for people or communities, to be able to support that kind of change. And we can only hope that's like a slow down to speed up kind of sort of situation. But yeah, we've learned a lot. And I've, interviewed how many dozens, I don't know, I should ask. I don't actually know how many episodes we have. Lots. And you hear a variants of similar themes, but people just having really unique experiences as well. Awesome. Well, this has been great to have you both on the show. So I can say that you can learn more about this partnership at quickbase.com/lucid. We are very excited. And we definitely want to make sure that folks get to know both platforms and all of the possibilities with both. And I thank you both for being on the show, and to everyone out there, you can like and subscribe. You can listen to us on anywhere you find your favorite podcasts, or quickbase.com/podcasts. And we look forward to seeing you or hearing from you on our next episode. Thanks. Bye.